Here is our Iowa Interstate 6988, the Iowa Bolt memories. I guess it's that time of year to start recording our vlog videos to talk about memories we've had with certain steam locomotives, and this one will encompass me talking about my 2018 memories and my 2019 memories with the Iowa Interstate 6988, or known by its nickname, the Iowa Bolt. When did I first find out about the Iowa Interstate 6988? It was 2017. It was when we were starting to plan our 2017. While in 2017 and 2018, we did have trips pretty much kind of determined from the year prior. In early 2017, we started looking at possible other places to go, fun stuff like that in case plans did not hold up. I was planning a return to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum, having been over 21 years at that point. The Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum was the first railroad museum I'd ever been to. I went there in 1996 when I was about 3 years old while visiting my uncle, who at the time lived in Knoxville. I remember the first engine I rode behind and the first engine I ever saw under steam was a Tennessee Valley Railroad 610, which was a former U.S. Army locomotive. I was watching all these clips from the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum because personally I wanted to return for RailFest, which looked like it would be a great time to return. Both the 630 and the 4501 were running the Missionary Ridge Local. You could get cab rides, there were shop tours, the whole 9 yards, and I was also looking at clips from Missionary Ridge. Of course, when planning this vacation, I was watching a lot of old videos of the Tennessee Valley 610, bringing back a lot of childhood memories. And the 610 has not operated since 2010. So while watching all these old videos and that, somehow I came across a video from TrainFest 2011. And when I first saw the thumbnail, I thought, wow, I wonder when that modification was done to 610. Because the locomotive in the thumbnail, to me, from a distance, before really analyzing the picture, looked like the Tennessee Valley 610 with smoke deflectors. It was then that I clicked on it that I realized it was a completely different engine. After a second look, I realized the locomotive did not look like 610, other than really maybe just a really zoomed in shot of the headlight and the number boards. Looking at the locomotive, it looked awesome. And that's when I found out it was the Iowa Interstate Railroad Steam Locomotive. So looking into it, I actually really wanted to see this locomotive. It looked cool, and I watched a few videos of it. Initially, just scratching on the surface. Just scratching the surface, I found out that it was a Chinese-built steam locomotive built by Detong Locomotive Works in 1985. I saw what it originally looked like and what it originally looked like with its sister locomotive 7081 when it first came to the Iowa Interstate Railroad. Of course, just scratching upon the surface, I then thought the locomotive was put back into its original Chinese state when I found out that that was completely wrong. A few of the videos I found were very vague and just said Iowa Interstate Steam. I had a desire to see the 6988. To me, it looked cool. It honestly looked like one of the best modified steam locomotives in preservation, which I do like. Perfect example, 2716 becoming a Southern engine, 4501 in green paint, 425 and 34 becoming 734. But after more detailed research, I saw that the Iowa Interstate steam locomotives had not ran since 2013 and were continually looking for a place to run. So at that point, I really did forget about the Iowa Interstate steam. Fast forward to 2019. Like I said, the past few years, 2017 and 2018, we pretty much did have predetermined trips of where we wanted to return to, where we wanted to go to for the first time. So originally on August 18th, 2019, I had the intentions of going to the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society's Open House Membership Day. As a member, I really wanted to go and partake in the night shoot and everything else. It was about June when, out of nowhere, it was announced that the Iowa Interstate 6988 would be running again. And initially, I brushed it off. Then an ad surfaced, was announced to pull excursions out of Mitchellville, Iowa, and out of Brooklyn, Iowa. It was announced on the Brooklyn Fire Department flyer that this would be the last run of the 6988 before retirement. Me not really believing they were going to retire them completely, I had to honestly sit back and think, do I go out to Iowa and chase 6988? And it was also June. In June, I pretty much had my vacation time planned for the rest of the year. I knew I was going down the Tennessee Valley for a doubleheader. I knew there was going to be 2 days at that time I was hoping to use towards the Milwaukee Road 261. I knew I was going to be going to the Joliet Rocket, and I knew I was going to be taking a day off for Steam in the Valley. Looking at this, I saw there was no feasible way for me to get from where I'm located at to Mitchellville, Iowa to see a day of excursions. It was then that I started watching videos from the 2011 Train Fest and seeing the route and hearing the whistle on the Iowa Interstate 6988. For those who don't know, I love steamboat whistles. And the whistle on this locomotive really reminded me of the 734's original whistle. After talking to a few friends, mainly the Milwaukee Railfan, or what he's known on YouTube, Baltic 144, I decided to go to the Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society's open house membership day and go see the 6988 on possibly its last run ever. Now, even before the weeks leading up to this, basically the Central States Steam Preservation Association's Facebook page pretty much shot down the rumors, blatantly saying that this would not be the last time that the 6988 or the 7081 would run. I still was determined to go and see it because, well, as we've learned in 2019 and 2018, don't expect it to last forever. I devised this crazy plan of me driving halfway out there, getting about 3 hours of sleep, not really one of my strong suits, and then driving all the way out to Mitchellville, Iowa to chase the 6988. Many times on that journey because, first off, I have definitely multiple times pulled all-nighters. Never have done it in a car and never have gotten... At that point, that was the first time I really went to a hotel just to take a cat nap. I really had never done something that insane before. So, as I was driving the rest of the way to Mitchellville, I really felt like death. And I'm sitting there thinking, I will never do something this insane again. I then arrived in Mitchellville, and a cop was talking to me and a few other rail fans and told us we had to move our vehicles once the 6988 departed, and I was fine with that. He actually was a really cool cop. It was actually really nice, chilled with us, and was even giving us ideas for locations on shooting the 6988. The whistle on the 6988 that day was a Southern 3-chime replica, which to me was okay, but I was not trying to sound like a foamer. My preference definitely would have been the Illinois Central 3-chime, but it did sound great. It was that day that when I was first looking at the locomotive, I really was kind of in awe at it. Knowing that it was only about 6 years older than me, knowing the fact that it had been completely modified to this, it was really one of the most beautiful steam locomotives I've ever seen. And to me, even still after seeing it multiple times, pictures do not do the 6988 justice. I remember when they opened the cylinder cocks that morning and they moved on to the main and shoved back. They also changed plans that day in Mitchellville. Instead of letting the 6988 lead the trains to Newton and have the diesel pull back, they decided to have the diesel tow the train to Altoona, Iowa, where the 6988 would lead it back into Mitchellville. The reason being is it is all downgrade to Newton and the 6988 would not be making that much noise. Whereas the diesel leading the train all the way into Altoona, the 6988 made quite a bit of noise as it climbed the grade back into Mitchellville. That day then, even though there really was not that much of a chase from Altoona, Iowa to Mitchellville, Iowa, I had a great day chasing. The light was perfect, the weather was perfect, any tiredness I felt I soon overcame. My only regret with that day was not chasing the ferry move back to Newton because they pretty much took off right after I left for the day. I also met that day the Baltic 144 in person. I met Santa Fe 669. I met A-Train Productions 4014. But anyhow, it was a fun day chasing. I somehow caught them twice, and I definitely did not regret that day. And for those wondering, yes, that day, when I did leave, I drove halfway home and actually did get a decent night's sleep, which really felt awesome after the 3 hours of sleep. I instantly regretted not taking any vacation day in 2018 because when I saw the Brooklyn excursions, to me, they were obviously the superior excursions, and the ferry move led them by a depot on a diamond. When driving home the next day, I had nothing but a taste to chase the Iowa Interstate 6988. So 2019 came, and I decided this year I wanted to be more loose. I wanted to wait for excursions to get announced. While everyone was getting excited about the big boy, I was waiting for the Iowa Interstate steam schedule. It was the day I was getting ready to leave for Pennsylvania to see 113 when the Menlo trips were announced. So I already had blocked off 2 days of vacation time where I was going to use to chase the 6988 on the Menlo excursions. Knowing that they'd have ferry moves and all that fun stuff, I couldn't wait to get out there. Then in February, I remember when a friend of mine posted the ad for the Chillicothe excursions. And initially, no one knew what engine was going to be powering the excursions. When I saw that, I was like, do I really want to use vacation time around that? Because there was another adventure I was planning in between it. And that's when I saw the route it would take to Chillicothe. It would leave from Newton, Iowa, and ferry to Chillicothe, Illinois. It was also then that I realized it would be taking the route of the 2011 Train Fest excursion. It would include the departure from Newton, the Diamond at Grinnell, which I so desperately wanted. So to me, I was already sold before when the Anawan excursions were announced. And it was during the Anawan excursions that it was announced that the 6988 would be the mode of power behind these trains. So myself getting excited, I knew where I wanted to use vacation time at. It's also around that time too that Western Maryland said 1309 would be back, which didn't happen. And I was also planning another trip to go see a Midwestern steam engine. And it was around that time that I decided, you know what, if I spend this many days with the 6988, chasing it from Iowa to Illinois, I could be okay with just going to chase Menlo and coming home. By April, I found out that the 6988 was going to be operating 2 more excursions. Excursions with the Anita Fire Department and 4th of July excursions with, I believe that was in Oxford. So I made a choice at that point. I had somehow devised a plan that I was somehow going to still chase 2 days of Menlo and Anita without any vacation time, which was the most insane thing I did. But I knew flat out I was going to skip the 4th of July excursions because I wanted to chase the 425 during the mountaintop excursion. So that being said, when everyone else was getting ready to chase the big boy on its journey to Ogden, Utah, I was patiently awaiting the chase with the 6988. Up until about a week prior, the 6988 was still wearing the Illinois Central 3 chime. By the time she left Newton, Iowa, she had the Southern 3 chime back on the locomotive. I was a little disappointed in this. As I had said in my top 5 videos from 2019, as I'll say again, it doesn't matter what whistle is on the locomotive as long as it is operating. Of those 4 days in May, those are still some of my favorite memories from rail fanning. I met Running 8 for the first time. I ran into Baltic 144, A-Train Productions 4014, and Santa Fe 669. On day 1, it left Newton, Iowa, and ran all the way to Silvis, Illinois. I pretty much, other than maybe 1 or 2 shots, got all the shots I wanted from the 2011 Train Fest and the ferry move to Brooklyn. I got the shot of them departing Newton, I got the Grinnell Diamond shot, I got the shot of them passing the grain elevators of Brooklyn, I got the West Liberty Depot shot, and I even got them crossing the Mississippi River. It was a great day. Day 2 of the chase wasn't as good because I only caught them 3 times before the diesel told them south to Chillicothe. I ran into Running 8 again, and pretty much on day 2, me and him pretty much had the same ideas for a chase. On day 3, it was the first official day of public excursions from Chillicothe to however far north they could get. That was probably the most bipolar weather day I have ever chased in my life. Started out sunny, went to torrential downpour, went to cloudy, went back to rain, went to some pretty awesome sunset shots. They also stopped in Bureau when initially a lot of people, including myself and a crew member at Bureau, were expecting them to go around the Y. We were all surprised when they stopped at the Bureau station. The Chillicothe was actually my least favorite day, even though some of those shots around the Peoria River were awesome. And even though I did better than day 2, I got a lot of shots I did like, I will admit, but it was just, to me, it was just my least favorite day of the chase. And there was nothing wrong with the chase. It was just fun. And I preferred days 1 and day 4. On the last day of the chase, I woke up super early, set up in Wyanett to get an overpass shot, which is one of my favorite shots of the 6988, and I rode that day. I wanted to ride behind the 6988, and it was just awesome to ride behind the Iowa Bolt. After the second excursion, they put on the Grand Trunk Western 6 chime, which was the first time that whistle was put on the locomotive since 2011. And when it initially went back on in May, that has got to be one of the top 5 best whistles I have ever heard in my life. And then by the end of the day, the Illinois Central 3 chime was back on the locomotive. But like I said in my top 5 videos for 2019, me and a few other rail fans asked about the possibility of hearing the original 5 chime Chinese whistle, and we did get our wish with that. It definitely is an interesting whistle. It has grown on me. I like it, but obviously the Illinois Central 3 chime was the whistle I wanted to hear all weekend. It was a lot of fun. I got a lot of great shots, especially with the Geneseo Depot, and it was just a great weekend. And yeah, so when I left that, I knew for sure that I wanted to go and chase the Menlo excursions and the Anita excursions. But knowing that I was initially supposed to chase a Midwest Steam Locomotive that Friday, and I was initially supposed to chase 1309, I still wasn't sure how I was going to do that. Then 1309 got pushed back. So the vacation day I had for Friday of the 4th of July, I decided I wanted to put towards Molino and Anita. Upon returning to work, there was a major project and there was no way for me to take off. So I devised a plan of myself driving all the way to Anita, Iowa and back with no vacation time, spending 2 days and pretty much lost 2 nights of sleep. Which was probably the most insane thing I've ever done rail fanning. I would never recommend it, and I will never, ever, ever do that again. The Menlo and Anita excursions to me were cool, but I had preferred the month earlier's excursions. It seemed to me there was a lot of cool spots on the Menlo excursion, but when I got out to Anita, to me, yes, I got some good shots on that excursion, but to me the cooler shots were on day one. Which is something I've learned with the Iowa Interstate. It always seems to me that day 2 are the better day of the excursions. Example, I chased Mitchellville and I had a lot of fun, but the Brooklyn excursions were the better ones. The Chillicothe excursion had a lot of nice scenery, but to me the Anawan Geneseo excursions were the better ones. This time, the Menlo excursions were the best ones. I left work on a Friday, drove straight to Stewart, Iowa, found where they had tied down the 6988 for the night, ran into Baltic 144 again. But I got a pretty kick-ass shot of them departing for the day, and I think that is one of the most craziest shots I've ever gotten of a steam locomotive emitting smoke like that, was when the 6988 charged out of the grade, out of Stewart, climbing into Menlo. At that point, the Grand Trunk Western whistle, from my understanding, was so popular with people they left it on the locomotive for the Menlo, Anita, and the Oxford excursions on the 4th. So pretty much the rest of 2019 she wore the Grand Trunk Western 6 chime. I will say the Grand Trunk Western whistle definitely did sound different during the Menlo excursions. And it actually reminded me more of the 6325, but it still sounded great. On day 1, there was one station that they passed in Stewart, Iowa that I got on the second trip of the day. I also really liked the horn on the diesel that weekend. It was actually one of my favorite diesel horns. She still did put on a show. I still did have a lot of fun. Weather was better. It was hotter, more humid. I met Bay Area Railfan Productions, I hope I said your name right, buddy, that day. And while I ran into Running 8 that weekend, and I met a few other rail fans and had a lot of fun. There was an overpass outside of Casey where we were in for a treat. As the 6988 approached us, the engineer used all 4 warning devices. The Grand Trunk Western 6 chime, the Guatemalan 3 chime, which I haven't spoken much about. It was Harry Possinger III's personal whistle that was fitted on the 6988 this year. The horn and her original Chinese 5 chime. That was one of my favorite shots from the weekend. The ferry move to Anita was also pretty cool, and one of my favorite shots of the 6988 ever was thanks to Baltic 144 in Bay Area Productions telling me that this one spot we scouted out wasn't that good. So we went further on down the road where we found this S-curve. Some old Rock Island signals, windmills, and we were perfectly able to frame it with a 1985 steam locomotive. Day 1 though, there was just a lot more opportunity and I would have been fine cutting the chase after day 1. Anita was okay, but I definitely thought the Menlo excursions were the better excursions, more scenery. One thing I'd like to add that I love about the Iowa Interstate line, it reminds me of the Buffalo Southern line in a way. It amazes me how many depots still exist from the Rock Island Railroad, like with Buffalo Southern, how many depots on the line still exist from the Erie Railroad. And while I left the Anita excursions knowing that'd be the last time I'd see 6988 for a while, as we enter 2020, to quote the Central States Steam Railroad Preservation Association's Facebook page, there is no word if they will run this year or not. If 6988 runs again this year, because I know flu time is almost done, they got about a year left is my understanding, before they have to go in for the 1472 day. I will absolutely try and get out there as much as I can without killing myself. If the 7081 runs, I will definitely make a point of going to see it once or twice. Nothing against the 7081. I actually think the 7081 is the prettiest Chinese steam locomotive I've ever seen. But to me, the 6988 just takes the cake for me. With 4-inch steam locomotives, it's the best looking one. I like everything about it, but if it's 7081 running, I will be there. Well, right now, there's no official hope. Trains Magazine hinted that one of them would be running in September, and now that they're kind of hitting between both of them, I do have to wonder if 7081 will make the return this year. I'm not a crew member for the organization. I have no ends with the organization. Whichever one runs, I hope it runs great. I hope them success, and we will be back out there at some point, regardless whether it's 7081 or 6988. Anyhow, this is Christian, and that was 6988 Memories.